So, dear friends, we have been looking into the third chapter for last few months, and today we are going to start the fourth chapter of the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. What is the name of the fourth chapter? Kaivalya Pada. So we have to understand that Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the first first chapter is called as Samadhi Pada. Second is Sadhana Pada. Third is Vibhuti Pad, and the fourth is Kaivalya Pad. So, the first chapter speaks about the very nature of samadhi. How are different kinds of samadhi, manifested? So, you see, there is a detailed description of sabija, nirbija kind of samadhis. Ashta samadhis have been described. Hmm? Uh, Grahan, Grahita, Asmita, Anand, various kind of samadhis are described in the first chapter. Second chapter, he talks about the ways to reach that state. That is why it is called as the sadhana path. Third chapter describes about the subtle attainments, psychic powers, which the yogis experience as they embark on the path of samadhi and move towards kaivalya. Kaivalya is the ultimate fruit of samadhi, correct? It is the final destination when all the samadhis fructify and manifest in completion. So all the samadhis ultimately culminate in Kaivalya. So from a superficial level of samadhi, a yogi evolves into deeper and deeper states of samadhi, which are nothing but deeper and deeper states of cleansing of the chitta. Ultimately, when chitta gets completely purified, the purpose of chitta itself is served. And he says that guna vaitrushnasya. Gunas actually start involuting. The chitta itself involutes. Involutes means goes back to the prakriti. And in a state of kaivalya, chitta is almost non-existent. So Patanjali is now describing the final stage of these samadhis, towards when the person is about to achieve kaivalya, what are the experiences, also what are the different obstacles that the individual should be aware of in the final stages of his evolution and self-realization. And he also, talks about what is the phenomena happening in that kaivalya sthiti. This is what this chapter focuses on. So because the third chapter dealt with all the siddhis, Patanjali begins the chapter 4 by telling us that all those vibhutis that I have described in the last chapter, different kind of special abilities of the senses, of the body, of the mind, of a yogi as he embarks on the path of kaivalya through different kind of yoga sadhanas. He says that it is not necessary that a person will be able to attain those siddhis, those special subtle experiences only by samadhi. It can also be attained by birth, by certain divya ushadhis, special kind of herbs, doing sadhana using certain kind of mantras, performing deep austerities and tapas, and of course samadhi. So Patanjali is actually describing 5 ways in which siddhis, special psychic power, subtler experiences can be attained. Patanjali is not describing 5 ways of attaining kaivalya. Patanjali is describing 5 ways of attaining siddhis. Okay. Can anybody tell me, from the history, any example where siddhis were present in an individual by birth? Hmm? Hmm. Hmm? Hanumanji had Ashtasiddhis when he was born, and then because of the curse, he forgot all that. And then in Ramayana, Jamvant again reminds him, this is known as Hanuman complex. We have all the powers, but we forget it because of certain kind of karmas. Hmm? So if those karmas, those curse, they are lifted, our powers again start manifesting. So this story tells us that we all also had once, sometimes all the powers, but now they have been taken away from us because we did not use them properly. So one is the story of Lord Hanumana. Then any other? Siddhi by birth. What Siddhi he had by birth? Adi Shankaracharya. Then he is a Jnana Yogi. He evolved through Jnana. He was born like all of us only. Then who else in history? Any example? Vyasa Maharshi. Hmm? Vyasa Maharshi was able to recollect all the texts, Vedas, Sutras, everything by birth. He was not taught anywhere. He was speaking in Sanskrit. He was able to recollect all the knowledges that were there. He had a Divya Drishti by birth. Thank you. So Vyasa Maharshi is another example. We see Barbarik, who is the son of Bhima, also has been born with lot of powers by birth. In fact, one of the boon he had by birth is whoever is the opponent, his half power comes to Barbarik. जो भी उससे लड़ने के लिए जाएगा, उसका आधा पावर इसको आ जाएगा बचपन से. So at the end, it was a big trouble. Half war, he fought, and he also had one more, we can say, weakness. He would always support the underdog. So he would, when he was called in the Mahabharata Yudh, Barbarik was called there because Pandavas were losing. Because they were on the losing side, he was so powerful, इतना powerful था कि वो पांडवों की तरफ से लड़ना शुरू किया. लड़ते लड़ते आधी से भी कम कर दी कौरवों की सेना. Then there came a point where Kauravas became weak. So he cannot tolerate underdog weak. फिर वो कौरवों की तरफ से पांडवों को मारने लगा. फिर जब ये पांडव वीक हो गए तो इधर से आ गया. फिर कृष्ण ने सोचा ये तो दोनों तरफ से खत्म कर देगा भाई, इसको लटकाना पड़ेगा. तो उसको लटका दिया फिर. So these are other examples where by birth siddhis were there. How do these siddhis come by birth? So definitely they would have done samadhi, mantra, tapa in the past life. So that has caused a certain transformation of the chitta, and then the same transformed chitta has taken birth again. With the special abilities of those senses, they are able to manifest that. This is about the samadhi by birth. How about samadhi by herbs? Samadhi by any kind of aushadhi? Siddhi by aushadhi. Ayurveda does mention about divya aushadhis which are found in Himalayas. Any examples? Somarasa. It brings immortality. Kaya kalpa. Are you aware of the procedure of kaya kalpa? चरक संहिता describes, no? क्या होता है काया कल्प में? क्या होता था? Anybody can describe the procedure of kaya kalp? Ashtang Hridayam also describes it in detail. For elderly people, Kuti Praveshika was there. In fact, Chavanprash is something which is made up of amla and other divya aushadhis, was actually for the process of kaya kalpa only. original Chavanprash, where the amlas are so big, they found in Himalayas. Hmm? So there is a procedure. You do proper snehana, start taking Chavanprash in gradually increasing dosage, live in a serene atmosphere of a jungle, and do not consume anything else. And gradually, you start increasing the dosage and start applying certain lepas onto your body. Hmm? And then in the final stage of that Shuddhi, they take certain bigger leaves of certain plant with certain lepas, chandana and other aspects, and they wrap it up, the yogis, the person's body, and keep it inside the trunk of a tree. Huh? For months together. You reach that state of suspended animation. And like the snake leaves its skin, uska pura ka pura jo, they say actually the everything dissolves and the new things come up. And then they come out with a entirely new young body. So with the Kaya Kalpa process, there can be complete transformation of the body, divyata in your senses. It is really clearly documented in Ayurveda texts. This is about Aushadhi. Huh? Now those everything is adulterated. Appa कहाँ अभी हिमालय में भी कुछ नहीं छोड़ा आप लोगों ने क्या? So, but there are Ashtanga Hridayam clearly describes the whole process. Even little bit of it also you follow, you feel lot of rejuvenation. The aging process retards. Abhi Chavanprash, if you want to eat, it is nothing but they use kaddu. कद्दू मिला देते हैं आंवले की जगह पे, pumpkin, and lot of sugar. I think to get original stuff is very difficult now. Ideally, Chavanprash, if you have to take, you have to prepare it. आपको बना के ही लेना चाहिए. आमला से, आमला, jaggery, honey, can make it at home also. Okay. Then third is about mantra. Mantra have the power of transforming the chitta. And from the transformation of the chitta, transforms the pranic structure. And from the transformation of pranic structure, transforms the physical structure and the senses. They give an example of a particular insect. What that insect does, it is an insect, like a भ्रमरा. भ्रमरा को क्या बोलते हैं अपन? Bee, which targets an insect belonging to another species. When they are small, in the egg only, when the small caterpillars come out, this particular insect starts producing that humming kind of sound and keeps going around that caterpillar again and again, again and again, again and again. So it is noted in evolutionary history. I will tell you the exact name of this insect. So what it does is, it stimulates that caterpillar of another species so much that that fellow who is born in another species starts producing sound like this insect and starts flying. तो उसको इतना उसके ब्रेन को बार 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 उसको वो वही इंप्रेशन दिखाते रहता है उसके चित्ता को कि हिज चित्ता gets transformed, and there is a transformation into the quality or the special, whatever is the ability of that caterpillar. It also turns into a Brahmar. Brahmar Keet करके संस्कृत में there is a mention of this kind of a keet that you expose again and again उसको उसके सामने ही घूमता रहता है, उसको वही आवाज आता रहता है, वही दिखता रहता है. And it does it continuously without stoppage. So उस इंसेक्ट के चित्त को पूरा ट्रांसफॉर्म कर डालता है. दैट इज व्हाट मंत्रा डस. चित्ता इज देयर एवरीवेयर. चित्ता इज ओमनी प्रेजेंट. चित्ता इज देयर इन प्लांट ऑल्सो. चित्ता इज देयर इन दिस remote also. Chitta is there in this wall also. When Swami Nyandev was sitting on the wall and Changdev came on a lion, चांगदेव आया था ना ज्ञानदेव के सामने, लायन पे बैठ के आया था, सी माई सिद्धि। ही जस्ट प्रेड, आई व्हाट सिद्धि, आई हैव गॉड्स पावर ओनली इज। वो लायन पे चल रहा था तो ही मेड द वॉल मूव। वॉल पे बैठा था, वॉल चलने लगी। ज्ञान स्वामी ज्ञानदेव का अगर आप हिस्ट्री पढ़ोगे तो कालिंदी में, पुणे में, वॉल हैज मूव्ड। ही वाज सिटिंग ऑन ए वॉल, वॉल स्टार्टेड मूविंग। एवरीथिंग इज अलाइव हियर। It is our eye which cannot see the liveliness in things, and we call them non-living, living. It is nothing like that in spirituality. Everything is living. You observe the electron changes its behavior. Correct? Wave becomes particle, particle becomes. आपके देखने से. It means the electron is alive. It is aware that when you watch, it changes its behavior. Quantum physics. What is quantum entanglement? An electron right here on Earth is coupled to an electron in space several light years away. लाइट ईयर मतलब क्या होता है? What does 1 light year mean? Distance covered by light in 1 year is known as light year. What is the speed of light? Almost 3 lakh meters per second का स्पीड से चलता है लाइट। हाँ, अगर 1 साल तक लाइट चलता रहेगा तो कितना डिस्टेंस करेगा? ऐसे सेवरल थाउजेंड लाइट ईयर्स अवे जो इलेक्ट्रॉन है, it is connected to the electron here. As soon as this electron does a spin, that electron does a counter spin. That does a counter spin, this does a spin. Instantaneous, no time gap. It doesn't, there is no time gap between उस इलेक्ट्रॉन में जो करोड़ों करोड़ों किलोमीटर्स दूर है, उसमें और इलेक्ट्रॉन यहां अर्थ पे, स्पिन एंड एंटी स्पिन happens instantaneously, no time gap. So what does it talk about? It talks about a unified field, everything everywhere. फिर चित्ता कहां नहीं है बॉस? Everything has all the 5 koshas. The only problem is the tool to express is not there. You understand? So if your laptop is, having a very old processor, correct? It doesn't mean that those softwares are not there to download. ये आपका लैपटॉप वो एडवांस नहीं है तो आप डाउनलोड नहीं कर पा रहे हो, पर वो सब है ना हर जगह. इट इज एवरीवेयर. You understand? So in that way, that particular hardware is not able to manifest it, but it is everywhere. So mantra, what does mantra do? Mantra transforms the chitta and slowly, like that Brahmarakita makes another insect into its own form, mantra turns the person who is chanting it into its own form. What is the form of a mantra? Whichever is the Ishta Devata, that start manifesting in the person who is chanting. If I am devoted to Hanumana and I keep on chanting Hanuman's name, Om Marutaya Namo, Om Marutaya Namo, Om Marutaya Namo, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shri Krishnaya Namah, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Whatever mantra that you keep repeating, that mantra acts like a Brahmara sound for your chitta. Slowly, slowly you start imbibing the qualities of the deity whose mantra you are chanting. Is it possible? Is it possible that you start imbibing those qualities? See, even if we remain with a room partner for some duration, we start behaving like that fellow. We start talking like that fellow. हाँ? उसके लिए तो हमने कोई एक्टिव एफर्ट भी नहीं डाला, ऐसे ही साथ में रहते रहते वैसे हो जाते हैं. पति पत्नी जो होते हैं, हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ, I have 3 sisters. Hmm? All of them have completely changed. शादी से पहले कैसी थी, शादी के बाद वो पूरा हस्बैंड की परछाई, एकदम ऐसा लगता है कि इट इज लाइक व्हाट इज दिस यार। गर्म पानी में ठंडा पानी मिलाया तो दोनों पानी कुनकुना हो जाता है, ऐसा हो जाता है। स्पेशली लेडीज मैड दे आर, wherever they put their chitta they become like them. So I don't know, इतना change in personality because husband is like that. Why that happens? Because this lady is devoted to her husband. वैसे ही आप कृष्ण को डिवोट होके कृष्ण को पति मानोगे तो आप कृष्ण स्वरूप हो जाओ। That is what happened with Anandamayi Ma also. Anandamayi Ma became Krishna only. Hmm? Mata Amritanandamayi, no? Mata Amritanandamayi. So mantra, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Hmm? So this is another way of transforming the chitta. Then comes tapas. How many of you know the story of Sajan Kasai in Mahabharat? सजन कसाई का स्टोरी किसको पता है? नहीं पता? Okay. So it talks about a rishi who had been doing a great tapas for 12 years in jungle. The tapas was so severe that he would take only 1 grain of rice on the first day after Amavasya and gradually increase one grain as the moon increases. So 15 grains on the day of Purnima and then again start reducing with 1 tulsi patra and then continuous chanting of mantra and drinking water from the river around, and this no contact with any human being. So he continues this sadhana for 12 years. And he doesn't even realize that so much time has passed. Once when he is about to eat those grains, one crow sitting on the top of his head, उसका shit गिरा देता है खाने. Feels really bad, very angry. So his eyes have so much ojas stage. He looks up and then the ash of the burnt crow falls on his face. Ash of the burnt crow falls on his face. गुस्से में देख लिया था, इतना तेज. Then this fellow feels that now time has come that I give back to society what I have gained. So he crosses the river, goes, sees a village, reaches the first house and stands near the gate and says, Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. So there is a household lady. Her morning time, husband is going on field. She has one kid who has to go to Gurukula, another small baby she has to feed. वो पूरा भाग रही है यहाँ से वहाँ. उसका पति का खाना बना रही है, बच्चे को यहाँ पे दूध पिला रही है, उसको गुरुकुल भेज रही है. So she says, Swamiji, just 5 minutes, I will come. She says, please wait. She shows hand. After 5 minutes, her husband goes. Another 5 minutes, her son goes. Now she is feeding there. The Rishi is waiting. He again with little more force, he says, Bhavati Bhiksham. Because they have a rule. They can only go to some certain number of houses. They cannot go beyond that. If they get, they get. Don't get, they don't get. So it is almost half an hour. Now he is furious. Kya? I think these people, villagers, just don't know the power of tapa. Then she comes with 2 chapatis and rice. And she's looking down. Kya dekhna abhi? She's looking down. She gives. He's not taking it. He's looking fiercely into her eyes. What is this disrespect? Then she slowly looks at him. She says, Swamiji, I am sorry. I've been doing my duties. Said, do you know who am I? Swamiji told. Do you know who am I? She says, Swamiji, I don't know who you are, but please don't think that I am that crow which will burn away with your grace like that. I am also not so weak. Hmm? He's shocked. Ye kya household lady is telling me, please don't think that you will be able to burn me like a crow. Swamiji pura sashtang namaskar kar dete. How do you know? There was nobody there. Then she says that doing your own duties with sincerity, devoting it to God is also a great tapas. For that, you don't have to go to become a sannyasi. The way she tells him as if she's telling him that he did a mistake leaving his family, children, wife, taking a sannyasa, as if she knows his whole history, his whole story. He's able to see that in her eyes. He requests her to be his guru. Then she tells, no, 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 I cannot be anybody's guru. I am a simple household lady. You go to my guru. Then she sends him into the market, to a butcher. काट रहा है सजन कसाई. That fellow makes him wait again. Then again he is shocked. क्या यार आप मांस मटन काट रहे हो, ये कर रहे हो, ये what is this going on? Then he says intention matters. That's all Trigunatmak Prakriti. So this is the kind of story that comes in Mahabharata, telling us that Siddhi is not something which is just restricted to people who leave everything, go to Himalaya, grow a big beard. Siddhis can manifest in very simple household people who are just sincerely doing their duty in the same way or even greater than ascetics. So this tapa is about doing sacrifices for your responsibilities. Always, our personal desires are in conflict with what we want to do, what we should do. What we want to do and what we should do is always, this is a conflict. Tapa means over what you want to do, you do what you should do. That generates tapa in you. That burns your karma, that purifies your chitta and makes you eligible for siddhi. That is why it is called as tapa. Why it is called as tapa? Because there is a friction between the two which generates heat. That heat purifies you. What are these two things which are producing the friction? What are the two things that are producing the friction? What I want to do and what I should do. In that, when what I should do is chosen, that then you have done a tapa. You have burnt a karma. It is logical also, no? What you want to do is what you are doing because of your tendencies of your janmas, your pashu vrittis, ahar, nidra, bhaya, maithun, all that is our pashu vrittis. What we should do is how we have to evolve towards kartavya nishtha, towards our duties, towards evolving as a greater human being. So if you choose what you want to do, you are again back to the older vrittis. Whereas when you choose what you should do against the strong pull and inertia which pulls you, then you have undone a old vritti and started a new circuit in the brain. Otherwise, the old circuits are very powerful. But you are now beginning new circuits. These circuits in the brain are chitta vritti. Correct? So, this is what that lady did in Mahabharata. Nothing for herself, desireless, but everything for her roles and responsibilities. That gave her siddhi. That is what Sajan Kasai was also doing. It was no selfish means in that act. Then, apart from that, samadhi. Samadhi we have described in detail before. So there is dharana, there is dhyana, and there is samadhi. Samadhi can be towards grahana, the very act of doing, or the grahitva. Correct? Object, act of senses engaging in that object, or the observer. Slowly the samadhi, as a person evolves, shifts from the object to the act of doing and then to the subject. When you do it on an object, siddhis are different. When you do it on the process of seeing, hearing, or different phenomena of senses, the siddhis are different. When you do it on the very subject, who is listening, who is hearing, then you are able to understand the difference between sattva, that is the buddhi, and the purusha. And that leads to sarva adhisthatram. Omniscience, omnipotent, all the knowledge, and you understand all the deeper laws of nature. So these are samadhi related siddhis. Then Patanjali talks about jatyantar parinamah prakritya purat. To get transformed into another species, another type of birth, parinama is transformation. Essentially, that is happening by the filling in of their own nature. Now, one question that naturally comes to me, no, that a person, when he develops a siddhi, definitely his body, his senses, his chitta is not same as before. It has completely got transformed. Say, for example, in Mahabharata, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is not able to see the Vishwarupa of Krishna. Correct? And what does Krishna do? न च त्वं शक्यसे द्रष्टुम अनेनैव स्वचक्षुषा ददामि. So what does he say? Dadami te divyam pashyame yogam aishwaram. Correct? Divyam dadami te drashtuhu pashyame yogam aishwaram. You will not be able to see my Swarupa through your eyes, which are currently with you. I need to give you different kind of eyes. Divya drishti. Then you will be able to see my yogam aishwaram. अभी उसको आंखें बदल गई. Correct? Bats are able to see UV rays also. In the light, ultrasonic waves also they are able to see, because their eyes, the wavelength that their eyes perceive are different than ours. Correct? So Krishna changed the very property of his eyes. He started perceiving those wavelengths which generally people don't perceive. It means Arjuna got transformed into another jati. Arjuna got transformed into another jati. You can't call him human being then, because human beings' eyes are different. That is known as jati antar parinamah. So all these yogis which show siddhi, they are not humans, they are superhumans. That is a different jati. Different devas are there, different deities are there. You worship Shiva, you worship Ganesha, you worship Devi. They show some special properties, no, in their senses, in their mind, in their body. It means they are a different jati. Correct? So jati antar parinama is happening. So naturally, when in previous sutra, when Patanjali is saying that siddhi comes by janma, aushadhi, mantra, tapa, and samadhi, we would think that it means that that particular aushadhi, that mantra, is changing the jati of the person. It means it is adding certain dimensions of prakriti and removing certain dimensions of prakriti. Then only jati and parinama can happen, no? You are able to understand? So Patanjali is telling that please understand that all this transformation that is taking place is not by replacement of one domain of prakriti by another. What is happening is the manifestation of the potential which is already there. बाहर से कुछ लाके इसको निकाल के बाहर से कुछ डाल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं कर रहा है। जो अंदर है वही मैनिफेस्ट हो रहा है। इट मीन्स all these siddhis manifest as flowering of the senses, flowering of the personality. They are all siddhis are right now there in all of us in the seed form. All siddhis are there right now in all of us, in our body, in our senses, in our chitta, in unmanifest seed form. But they are there. Okay? And their manifestation happens when Prakriti doesn't, these substances doesn't add any new thing. Only when the Prakriti gets a right kind of a atmosphere, the seeds germinate. That is known as Prakritya Purat. The transformation of one species into another is brought through filling in of their own nature. What does it mean? It means that, see, all of us have our own nature. You have your own nature. What is your nature? What is your nature, Ashish Kumar? Talk about yourself. What are you?
Like in terms of what you are asking.
Anything. What are you?
I'm just having the class Patanjali of Sutra here right now.
What are you? Not what you are doing.
The awareness,
You are an awareness. What else are you?
experience.
Experiencer. Then you are, of course, this body sitting here. There are group of senses which give you information. You have certain kind of feelings. You know about yourself. There are certain kind of activities you know you can do. There are certain kind of activities you know you cannot do. Certain things you are good at, certain things you are not good at. Correct? This is you. This is your Swarupa in your own drishti. Correct? Correct? So Patanjali says that what you know of your own Swarupa is only 1% of who you are. What you know of your own Swarupa is only 1% of who you actually are. How much of your own Swarupa, how much percent of your own real true Swarupa are you able to manifest right now? Tell me. How much of your own Swarupa are you manifesting right now? कुछ तो बताओ यार, तुम्हारा स्वरूप तो हमको पता ही है क्या है हमारा स्वरूप। सच्चित आनंद, अनंत, omniscience, omnipotent. Correct? Of that Swarupa, how much are you able to manifest? How much percent? बताओ यार, कुछ तो बताओ यार, कितना परसेंट मैनिफेस्ट कर रहे हो? इलेक्ट्रिसिटी हर जगह है। करेक्ट? आपका जितना बड़ा बल्ब होगा उतना लाइट चमकाओगे आप। छोटा सा वो लाइट भी चमक सकता है, एकदम डिम वाला। तो कितना वाट का लाइट चमक रहा है अभी? कितना चमका रहे हो? कितना परसेंट चमका रहे हो अपने स्वरूप का?
अच्छा ये सब कैलकुलेट क्या करना होता
है? हाउ मच ऑफ योर स्वरूपा आर यू मैनिफेस्टिंग? हाउ मच परसेंट? 0.1%.
है? What is the tool to measure that?
It is intuitive. I think Gautam is manifesting little more. बताओ गौतम, है? कुछ भी नहीं। 5%. That answer itself is a problem. Yes. हाँ मैडम, 0. Question only not understood. Yes. 0.5%. Wonderful. हाँ हाँ 0. 0.5 मैक्सिमम, 0। वेरिंग रेंज में मैनिफेस्ट करती है, सुबह ज्यादा डिम हो गया, रात में चमक गया, ऐसा मैडम का बल्ब फ्लक्चुएट हो रहा है। हाँ, 0। पतंजलि टेलिंग कैवल्य में जाके 100% मैनिफेस्ट करना है इस लाइफ में, अगर पैदा हो गए। इफ यू हैव कम टू दिस लाइफ, प्यूरिफाई योर चित्ता, मैनिफेस्ट 100%। हु मैनिफेस्टेड 100%? Krishna. How does Arjuna describe? As if 1,000 sun are shining together at the same time in the sky. That is how Krishna manifested his Swarupa. That is what Arjuna perceived. All of us are 1,000 suns in the seed form. These sutras start with yama and niyama. यमा नियमा ब्रेक कर दिया, इतना काले बादल आपके स्वरूप पे छा जाएंगे, कभी जिंदगी में कोई पोटेंशियल मैनिफेस्ट नहीं कर पाओगे। कितना भी दिमाग लगा लो, चालाकी कर लो, यहां से वहां से चले जाओ, आखिर में जब मरोगे ना, लगेगा इतनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिस हो गई फालतू का दिमाग लगाने से। सीधे सीधे लाइफ जियो, यम नियम को मत तोड़ो, तुम्हारी सिद्धि मैनिफेस्ट होने लगेगी, पावर आने लगेंगे। ज्यादा दिमाग मत लगाओ, तुमसे बहुत ओवर स्मार्ट है नेचर, उसको बेवकूफ नहीं बना सकते आप। टू बी एबल टू कीप थिंग्स सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट इटसेल्फ इज ए ग्रेट कैपेबिलिटी। आपका बल्ब शाइन होने का सबसे पहला है कि सर्किट बराबर जगह पे कनेक्ट हो, उसके लिए यम और नियम फॉलो करो। आफ्टर दैट बिगिंस द जर्नी ऑफ यू मैनिफेस्टिंग योरसेल्फ। आई हैव लर्न दिस आफ्टर मेकिंग लॉट ऑफ सर्कल्स इन माय लाइफ। देयर वाज नोबडी मोर मैनिपुलेटिव देन मी, बट देन आई लर्न ये दिमाग लगाने से कुछ नहीं होता। Fundamental laws of life, nature are always truth, and there is no amount of, you know, applying your brain that will affect them or that will be able to give you an escape from it. Be very careful about your karmas. And then, path is very simple. Yama, niyama. When you follow, you develop an ability to sit in an asana. And naturally, you become more self-aware of what goes on in my chitta. Your breath naturally starts slowing down. And of course, if you then follow based on your own nature, shoch, santosh, tapa, your duties towards your family, towards your nation, towards your society, towards your profession. किसको चीट करोगे यार? अपने आप को ही चीट करोगे, और क्या होगा? किसी ने नहीं देखा तो क्या हुआ? तुम्हारा स्वरूप तो देख रहा है ना। Even if nobody saw that you cheated, your Swarupa saw it. What did Swarupa do when the Swarupa saw that you cheated? It covered itself more. किसका नुकसान हुआ? कौन अपने स्वरूप से दूर चला गया? किसका बल्ब डिम हो गया? Ultimately, why do we cheat? Because we think that we want to manifest ourselves more. We want name, we want fame, we want money, we want power, we want all kind of comfort. Correct? That is what all of us are seeking. That is all a shadow of our own Swarupa only, that we are seeking outside, even through unfair means. We want to go back to our Swarupa. What do all of us want? I should never die. Correct? I should have all the kind of fulfillment that are there. Nobody should give me any pain. I should always be in ever increasing bliss and happiness. Why we all want that? Because that is our Swarupa. We are missing our Swarupa. We are missing our sweet home. We miss that. We want complete, unending fulfillment. But we try to reach our Swarupa through unfair means. in the shadow of Swarupa, in Prakriti. And by doing that, unfortunately, we break yamas and niyamas and we keep covering our Swarupa more and more, bringing more and more misery into our lives. So, Swarupa will manifest once yamas and niyamas are not broken for 12 years. Then Swarupa will very clearly manifest. You will end up doing such huge big things which you can't even imagine that I can do right now. You can't even imagine what you can do. आप इमेजिन भी करोगे ना तो आप वो इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते जो आप एक्चुअली कर दोगे. क्योंकि the perception that you have of your Swarupa right now is also governed by your karmas. You cannot perceive your Swarupa beyond a certain limit because your karmas are restricting that. That's why you become low in confidence. स्वरूप दिखता ही नहीं है ना. तो स्वरूप की थोड़ी भी हिंट आने लगती है तो कॉन्फिडेंस आसमान चढ़ जाता है. यू बिकम ऑन द टॉप ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. स्वरूप की थोड़ी सी झांकी आने लगी ना तो कॉन्फिडेंस आसमान छू लेता है. लेकिन यम नियम ब्रेक करोगे स्वरूप पूरा ढक जाएगा. कहां से कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा? सिर्फ ड्रामा कर सकते हो आप. रियल कॉन्फिडेंस तो कभी नहीं आ सकता. जो आदमी यम नियम ब्रेक करता रहता है लाइफ में वो सिर्फ ड्रामा कर सकता है. वो कभी आत्मविश्वास से भरा हुआ नहीं हो सकता. ओके. So Patanjali says jati antar parinama happens by prakritya purat. What does it mean? It means that the transformation that will take place will be manifestation of your own swarupa which will get filled in. Then he makes it much more clear in the next sutra. He says, please understand that these incidental herbs, medicine, psychedelic, these substances are not bringing that transformation. That transformation is actually happening by removal of the obstacles of karma. There are certain obstacles created by your own karma which is not allowing your Swarupa to manifest. But when you do this sadhana, then that obstacle is lifted. And then as in the field, when a farmer puts water into the field and the water has to enter from one field into another, it doesn't go until if there is a stone blocking the path of water, it is lifted. As soon as you lift the stone, what happens? Water goes into another field. फिर उसको रोकना पड़ता है क्या? फिर वो अपने आप पूरा फील्ड को भर देता है. Correct? So he is saying that this transformation of jati that takes place, it takes place by removal of the obstacle and not adding anything extra into the prakriti. It means the prakriti that is already there within us. Swami Vivekananda said, education is the manifestation of divinity already existing in men, in the human being. Correct? So, who is creating this obstacle? This obstacle is being created by certain karmas that were filled with raga, dvesha, klesha. What are those karmas? They are karmas done against your duties, against your responsibilities by vitarkas, where you broke yamas, where you broke satya, you broke ahimsa, you broke brahmacharya, you broke asteya, you broke aparigraha. And by breaking that, obstacle had been created on your own swarupa. And these, actually, the aspect that has been described, Janma is by birth, the person in the last Janma itself removed the obstacles. Whereas Aushadhi, doing certain cleansing procedures, certain kriyas, certain breathing techniques, all that also can help in removal of those obstacles. Sometimes obstacles, it appears that they have been removed in a flash like this. Correct? But that doesn't happen. If there is a stone that is not allowing the water from this field to enter into that field, correct? Then, if a person is putting a hammer on that stone, उसको हथौड़ा मारता है. रोज आके क्या करता है? एक हथौड़ा मारता है. करेक्ट? कितने हथौड़ा मारने से स्टोन टूटेगा? if there is a stone blocking it, a person comes and puts a good blow of a hammer on the stone every day, once a day. How many blows will be required to break the stone? Approximately. स्टोन है, मैं एक पत्थर लाता हूँ, आपको हैमर देता हूँ, एक स्ट्रोक में तोड़ दोगे? नहीं नहीं, मैं टोटल बोल रहा हूँ, टोटल कितने लगेंगे? फिर भी गैस करो, जैसे एवरेज इतना साइज का स्टोन है, उसको आपको तोड़ना है 15 times. Madam, one stone is there, you have a hammer, you can strike the hammer with all your force every day once. How many days it will take? 40-50 days. How many days? 10 days. 2 weeks. Huh? Stone is big, then one hammer is enough? Weak. Nature of stone also. So, when it breaks, it appears that the hit that was given on the day that it broke was only responsible for breaking. Correct? But last whole month, the blows that have been given were also being absorbed by the stone. In the same way, it appears that we are following the same routine. What, I get up again every day, same stress management module in the morning. Same kind of chanting I do, same आरती आई एम डूइंग माई सेम स्टूडेंट के जो काम है वो करती जा रही हूँ, फैमिली वाले जो बोलते हैं मैं करता जा रहा हूँ. आई एम जस्ट फुलफिलिंग माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, आई एम डूइंग वट एवर लिटिल बिट आई एम डूइंग एवरी डे सेम. एंड इट गिव्स अस एन इम्प्रेशन, क्या ये लाइफ ऐसा मोनोटोनस है? इज दिस लाइफ? But we don't realize that every day we are putting a hammer which is not visible where it is going, but it is weakening a karma or a klesha somewhere in your chitta. One fine day, little bit you put and it breaks. And when it breaks, Patanjali is giving this very beautiful example. Why? Because it says that एक बार जब टूटता है तो फिर वो पूरा खेत भर देता है. Once that karma block is removed, your Swarupa shines forth through the whole personality. You completely get transformed. So it will be not like, कि आपने इतना किया तो इतना ट्रांसफॉर्म होगा. There is a tendency of that Swarupa to spread itself as much space is available for it to spread. Another example people give is the electron keeps revolving in one orbit and you keep giving it energy. It keeps absorbing that energy, but still keeps revolving in the same orbit. After revolving, once it reaches a certain threshold, suddenly it jumps into the next orbit. Correct? So we feel that only the last moment what energy was given, that made the electron jump. No, it was continuously absorbing the energy all the time. So आपके ब्रेन का जो ऑर्बिट है ना, वो दूसरे ऑर्बिट में चला जाता है आपका ब्रेन. वो कब जाएगा? When will it go? As you correctly said, it depends on two factors. How thick is the stone? How big is the stone? How intense is the hammer? How frequent is the hammer? How perseverant? स तू दीर्घकाल नैरंतर्य सत्कारा सेवी तो दृढ़ भूमि. कितना निरंतरता है. नहीं तो क्या होगा, एक हैमर मारा, महीना भर गया, फिर से वो स्टोन जम जाएगा, टाइट हो जाएगा. दीर्घकाल होना चाहिए, नैरंतर्य होना चाहिए. और वो हैमर तोड़ने में भी उस सेज की तरह ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि मैं कितना बड़ा सिद्ध योगी हो गया. सत्कारा सेवित हो, विथ डॉट ऑफ ह्यूमिलिटी. Even the hammer is being put by divine grace only. With that, Patanjali says, Jati Parinama is possible. Jati Parinama means from human being, you can become a superhuman being. In this very life, manifest your complete true Swarup. Okay? So I think it is enough for today. Anybody, any questions? Offline, online? All Tirthankars are also Siddha yogis. Yes. Bumblebee.
Sir, every mantra has a Ishta Devata.
Mantra has an Ishta Devata in the way that every mantra connects you to a certain source of energy. That energy has certain characteristics. Those characteristics you will start imbibing. Energy centers. Every mantra connects you to one energy center. And that energy center will give you those particular kind of characteristics in your body and mind.
Second thing you said about the Sajjan Kasai, like intention, it matters about the intention, not the action. How do we justify that? Like, because the action will definitely depend on the intention. What we think, we say that, and then it will convert into action. So how we can say, like, I have a good intention, but I do wrong in the world. So how it is justified?
Yeah, I think Ashish has asked a very good question. Ashish is saying that in Sajjan Kasai, he's killing animals and feeding human beings. So, how do you justify that if your intention are right, you can do anything? No. So, here the person who is doing it, his internal structure you have to understand. So, for example, the Utpatti, Sthiti, and Vilaya is a process that continuously goes on in the nature. Right? There are forces of nature which give rise to birth. There are forces of nature which sustain. There are forces of nature which destroy. Anything that comes goes. Correct? And if a person has reached that level of evolution where he has established himself into a complete non-doership, साक्षी भाव में बैठ गया है और सिर्फ प्रकृति के गुण काम कर रहे हैं, is just for the gunas to function. He doesn't have any cognition that he is doing it. You understand? Then what happens? मूवी में एक रोल दिया है तो वो बस अपना रोल करके चला जाता है. उसको कोई मतलब नहीं है कि मैंने उस मूवी में विलन का रोल किया कि हीरो का रोल किया. So you don't identify yourself with that is a very high state where sattva also is transcended by gunatita. So currently for all of us, definitely we think that we should promote sattva. पहले सात्विक हो जाओ, उसके बाद में गुणातीत के बारे में सोचेंगे, है ना? So what you are asking is, how can you justify a gunatita person which is going against sattva guna?
That I got it, what you said. You get Gunatita, then it doesn't matter what you are doing. Right?
So then you go beyond good and bad.
Like these god saints got like some way they have to kill someone, so they don't get any karma in that way.
Huh? Yamaraja, Dharma Yamaraya also kills all the living beings. But that is his dharma.
For this, for us, this will not work.
For us, it is from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, from sattva to shuddha sattva. And then doing more and more tapas, it naturally comes. You don't have any confusion when the such state you reach. Okay, thank you.